Good morning, third grade friends. Happy Monday, or whatever day it is that you're watching this video. Today, we are going to continue our work with line plots, and you're going to get the chance to make your own line plot. So our agenda for today, we're going to review what is a line plot. We're going to watch a video example together of how to create a line plot. We'll do a guided practice problem. I'm going to show you how to log into Khan Academy so that you can do your exit ticket. All right, let's jump right in. So the important parts of a line plot. Hopefully this looks familiar and that you were able to watch my video from Thursday of last week where we went over the important parts of a line plot. The first important part of a line plot is making sure that you look at the title. The title tells you what information the person who created the line plot is trying to share with you. So in this line plot, the person who created it was trying to tell us about the amount of hours that each of the people that is represented by an X spent outside over the weekend. So, for example, each of these X's represents one person who spent an hour outside over the weekend. The next important part of the line plot is the number line, right? We can't have a line plot without a number line. The scale that goes with the number line. So the scale is these numbers down at the bottom that tell us the different options for the amount of hours spent outside. Next is the values, right? So the values could be represented with an X, or sometimes you'll see them represented with a dot. They mean the same thing. In this case, it's an X, and an X equals one person. So if I wanted to figure out how many people were shown on this whole line plot, I could count all of the X's. And the last really important part of the line plot is the labels, right? So you just saw me look at this label down here to tell me what each X represented, and this label down here, which tells me that the scale, the numbers on the scale, are all in hours. If I didn't know that, I might think they were in inches or centimeters, who knows? All right, now we're going to watch a short video together. I might pause again to explain some things throughout the video, and this will show us how to create our own line plot.
Again for stopping by and joining me on this problem, where whether it's your first time working with a line plot or you're just trying to get some more practice, you're in the right place. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this one. We have a list, okay, of all these different values which represent the number of miles that Jess ran each day for 10 days. So we see we have 10 values. Some of them repeat, some of them don't, and that's how many miles that she ran on each particular day.
So to make that a little bit more clear, each of these numbers here shows the number of miles that she ran on a day. So if we wanted to make this a little bit clearer for ourselves, we might say this was on Monday. This was the number on Tuesday. This was the number she ran on Wednesday. And when he says that the numbers repeat, what he means is that on this day, whatever day it was, let's call it Tuesday, and on this day, let's call it Wednesday of the next week, she ran the same number of miles, which was 8.
Now what we have to do here is make a line plot of the data that includes a title and correct labels. Now a line plot is just a special kind of graph that shows the frequency, okay, or the number of times that something occurs. In this case, how many times she ran a certain number of miles. So the first thing that we need for a line plot is a horizontal line with an arrow point on each end. And remember that our data needs context. So we need a title. We can call this miles Jessica ran, and our unit of measurement is just miles.
When he says that it needs context, what he means is that we have to tell the people who are going to look at our line plot exactly what information we're sharing with them. If he didn't tell us what information he was sharing with us, we might think that this line plot was about pizza toppings or the heights of kindergartners. Also, I would add something to the bottom down here of his line plot that shows that an X represents a day of running that particular number of miles. So an X would represent one day that she ran 8 miles if it was over an 8.
So now we are ready to use our data, and we are going to start off by color coordinating so that we can see which values occur more than once. So 7 3/4 will label in blue, 8 will label in pink, 7 1/2 in orange, and 8 1/3 in green. So now we have to be able to identify these values in order from smallest to largest.
He does this really quickly, so I'm going to stop first and break it down for you. So in order to figure out how to order these values from least to greatest, I need to follow these steps. Oops, we'll get back to that in a second. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to look at the whole numbers. Hopefully I can get this to show at the same time here.
Starting with the...
Okay, there we go. Now we can see them. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is look at the whole numbers. So 7, 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8. 7 is smaller than 8. So any of the mixed numbers that start with a 7 are going to come before those that start with an 8 when I'm ordering from least to greatest. Then for step 2, I knew it was going to do that. I'm not done yet because I still have to consider the fraction. So let me pull this back up here.
Again, for stopping by.
I think my iPad thinks that I'm talking to it. All right, so how can I tell when I have 2 different mixed numbers that start with 7, how can I tell which one is greater than another? Like, how do I tell if 7 1/2 is less than 7 3/4? Well, I have to look at the fraction. I know that 1/2 here is equivalent to or the same as 2/4, right? So I could think of this as 7 2/4, and then I know that 2/4 is less than 3/4. So 7 1/2 or 7 2/4 is less than 7 3/4. So now he's going to walk you through how to do these from least to greatest, but he'll do it a little bit faster.
Starting with the smallest, 7 1/2, then 7 3/4, then 8, and then the largest 8 1/3. Now we have to represent each of those 4 values on the line plot in order again from smallest to largest. Now starting with 7 1/2, we label that on our line, and we see that that value occurs 3 times. So we are going to include 3 X marks to show that that occurred 3 times.
Remember that each of those X marks means one day that she ran that amount of miles. So she ran 1, 2, 3 days. On 3 days, she ran 7 1/2 miles.
Our next value, 7 3/4, also occurred 3 times. So again, we're going to put 3 X marks. Our next largest value, 8, occurred 2 times, and our largest 8 1/3 occurred 2 times as well. So we have just successfully constructed a line plot to represent this data for Jessica's miles of running over that 10-day period, and that's really all.
All right, we're going to stop there. I just want to explain one more thing. He forgot to double check. We need to count our values to make sure that the number of times that Jessica ran matches the number of X's on the number line. So we need to make sure that these numbers up here, there are 10 of those numbers, match the number of x's on my number line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Sometimes it can be easy to accidentally leave out a value, and then your your line plot doesn't accurately match the number of values that you had. So it's important to double check for that. All right, we are going to jump into, whoops, it still thinks I want to watch the video. There we go. We're going to jump into our guided practice now. So the guided practice problem says, Miss Metz is organizing straws for a science experiment. Her straws are all different lengths, and she needs to know how many straws of each length that she has. Create a line plot with a title and labels to help her figure out how many straws of each length that she has. And then we have our chart of values or data, same thing, down here. So first thing that good mathematicians need to do when you have a long problem like this is to make sure that we are underlining or bolding our key words. So let's see. Miss Metz is organizing straws, that's important, for a science experiment. Her straws are all different lengths, and she needs to know how many straws of each length that she has. Create a line plot with a title, can't forget that, and labels, also super important, to help her figure out how many straws of each length that she has. Now that we've done that and we know what we're looking for, we can jump right in. So here you'll see that I have my values chart, again with my information, and I have a setup for my line plot. It's really important that I go back and double check at the end to make sure that I have all the important parts of the line plot from that very first slide that we went over together today. So the first thing I'm going to do, like the teacher in the video did, is I'm going to group together my values that are the same. He used colors, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to start with a red circle for all of the values that are 3, just 3, no fraction. There's a 3, and there's one more 3 down here. Then I'm going to use a blue circle for just 4. See any other just 4, no fraction? Yep, there's one here. Okay, now I'm going to use a green circle for 4.5. See any other 4.5s? Yep, there's one there. And there's one more down here. Cool. Now I'm going to use an orange circle for 2 3/4. I don't see any other 2 3/4. That must be the only one. Okay, now my program that I'm using for this only allows me to do 4 colors. So now I'm going to switch the shape. So I'll use a red square to find all of the 3 3/4. That will help me to create my line plot for 3 3/4. So go back to red here. Okay, there's 3 3/4. Are there any others? Yep, there's one over here. I'll use a square to help match these ones up. Whoops. Let me make that a little neater. Cool. Okay. 3 1/4. That's a different one. I haven't seen that yet. So I'm going to switch to a blue square for that one. Any other 3 1/4? No, I don't see any. 4 3/4. That's a new one. We haven't seen that one yet. I'm going to use a green square. Okay. Don't see any others here. Nope. Okay. 4 1/4, haven't seen that one yet. So let's do an orange square for that one. Awesome. 5, that's also a new value, haven't seen that one yet. And it looks like I ran out of colors with my squares again, so I'm going to do a triangle this time. Let's do a red triangle for the 5. Okay, and 3 1/2. Nope, haven't seen that one yet, so I'm going to do a blue triangle for that one. Awesome. Okay, now I'm done putting together or matching up values that are the same. Now it's time to add my title. So it looks like I am finding the lengths of straws and I'm doing it in inches. I'm just going to borrow the information from the title of this chart. Awesome. Now, first step is I have to put my values up here into my scale, which is at the bottom of my number line. And we need to do it just like we did in the video, where we started with the value that was the least and worked our way up to the greatest. We're also going to make sure here that the amount between each of the values on the scale is the same, right? We want to make sure that each jump is the same, just like when we were working with fractions on a number line. So, looks like my smallest one here, if I look at my whole numbers, I see 2, I see 3s, I see 4, and I see 5. Okay, so I'm going to start with the one that has 2. 2 3/4. Then 3. Let's make that center. There we go. Fix that problem. Okay. Now I see 3 1/4. Is there 3 2/4? Oh, 3 1/2. Right, I remember those are equivalent. 3 1/2. Then 3 3/4. And then 3 4/4 would be the same as, think in your brain, 4. Right. Then 4 1/4. 4 2/4. Oh, 4 1/2. Right, that's the same thing. 4 3/4. Yep, I see that in my values. And 5. Perfect. Now I can go ahead and add my x's. I'm going to do all of my x's in red, just to make it a little easier on the eyes. So let's see. 2 3/4. How many 2 3/4 were there? Looks like there's just one orange circle there. So oops, wrong color. There we go. Okay, so 1x for 2 3/4. For 3, it looks like, oh, there were 2 red circles there. So I know there were 2 3s. Okay, 3 1/4. Where was 3 1/4? Oh, so I'm looking for blue squares. Do I see any other blue squares? Nope, just one. 3 1/2. Just one blue triangle. 3 3/4. Ooh, I see 2 red squares there. Yep, so that value showed up twice. Okay, 4. I see 2 blue circles. 1, 2. Do you see how categorizing my values and matching them up made it a lot easier to make my number, or to make my line plot? 4 1/4, let's see. Looks like just one orange square. 4 1/2. Ooh, I see 3 green circles. That seems like the most frequent one yet. Awesome. 4 3/4. Looks like I'm looking for green squares. I just see 1 green square. So just 1 there. And 5. 1 red triangle, so 1x. Now, I can't forget to add a label down here at the bottom. And this is to let the person who's reading my graph know that these are all inches. Also going to extend this. I'll just make it a separate one. I need to make sure to let my reader know that an x is equal to 1 straw of that particular length. Awesome. Now, I need to make sure I double check. So, I need to make sure that the number of x's matches the number of values up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Awesome. I didn't forget to put any values on my line plot. Did I include that title? Yep. Do I have a number line? Yep. Do I have a scale? Yep. Do I have the values in X's or dots? Yep. And do I have my labels? I sure do. All right, now that we've done this together, it is time, let me get rid of these, for us to move on to Khan Academy. How fun. So the way that you're going to get to Khan Academy is you're going to go to today's math assignment, where you found this video, on Google Classroom, and right where the materials are, underneath the assignment, you'll see there's a link to Khan Academy. You're going to click that, and it will take you to this page. Now, you're going to need to make sure that you have your login information for Khan Academy. You'll find that login information in the same place where you found the link to this Khan Academy page. You're going to go to your Google Classroom. It's under today's math assignment. I've asked your teachers, in case you didn't know your Khan Academy login already, to add your Khan Academy logins to today's math assignment. So you should see a document there that will allow you to find your login information, and you can always just reach out to your teacher if you're confused on your login information. So we're going to log in as a scholar. And the reason it's really important that you log in is because your teacher cannot see that you have completed it if you don't log in. So again, please make sure that you log in. Otherwise, we're not going to know that you're done. Now, you're going to answer a series of 4 questions, and it already, lucky for you, gives you your setup for your line plot. So all you have to do is just add in the values. And the way that you're going to do that is by clicking. So again, I'm not giving you the answer here. I'm just showing you how to use this program. Okay, so let's say I wanted to put a dot. Khan Academy uses dots over a 3. I just push over the 3 and the dot shows up. If I want to add another one, I just push there. And then what if I put too many? Oops, I made a mistake. I'm going to click underneath the one I want to erase. So if I wanted to erase one there, I would click underneath it. If I wanted to erase this one, I'd click underneath it and it goes away. All right, once you're done, you'll press, there's a little button that says check in the corner. It will let you know how you did on that problem and give you a chance to go back and fix it if you made a mistake. and then it will let you know when you're all done with the 4 problems. Oops. Here we go. So now it is your turn. You do Khan Academy, you do Khan Academy, and everyone does Khan Academy. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher. It was so fun learning with you today, friends. See you soon.